At last, CelJaded is back with more Total Extreme Wrestling 2020, this time for Sunday, week 1 of April 2006 on Mammoth's Shifting Sands mod. My name is Alex, and this is WrestleMania 22. The legendary supercard that we have been building towards since this series first began, and what better way to start this massive show than with a 100 rating for this opening segment starring none other than the Texas Rattlesnake, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And here he comes, the glass breaks, the crowd goes wild. Steve Austin is here. He has been languishing on this save unused for the longest time, and I thought, what better way to start WrestleMania than bringing back Stone Cold for a quick cameo here. So here he is, Stone Cold. He's not a wrestler on the save, of course, just a personality, but what a great boon to this show already with perhaps the strongest segment rating we will see all night. It has the bonus for getting the show off to a good start as well. So great stuff here from Stone Cold. But as the crowd's cheers die down just a little bit, Steve Austin says that he is actually here to speak to an old friend. So, interesting stuff there. Who does Stone Cold wish to speak to? And will they like what he has to say? We're just going to have to wait until later to find out the answer. But for now, Steve Austin is looking forward to the opening match here at WrestleMania 22, because Steve Austin asks the crowd if they want to see a McMahon get their ass kicked. And after the unanimous agreements ring out across the stadium, you can bet Stone Cold is in agreement. He wants to see a McMahon get their ass kicked here in the opening match of WrestleMania 22. But of course, it's not going to be Vince McMahon in that spot. It will be his son, Shane. And as we move over here, and there it is. So we have the team of Shane McMahon, Kid Cash, and Jamie Noble facing Juventud Guerrera, Psicosis, and Super Crazy. The Mexicools, they have Shelly Martinez in their corner as well. And this is the seeds of a Revolution storyline. The big blow-off to this storyline. And for each one of these matches, I'm going to revisit the original write-up that I made for these months ago. And we can measure up and see how well that storyline kind of matched what the outline that I originally penned for it. So here we go. So for Seeds of a Revolution, we have the Mexicools, who have been vocal about their frustration with the lack of opportunities for Mexican wrestlers in WWE. Enter Shelly Martinez, a charismatic and rebellious female wrestler who shares their sentiment and joins forces with the Mexicools. However, when Shane McMahon takes exception to the Mexicools' little revolution, he gathers allies of his own to quash their uprising before it can even begin. So, as we know, Shane McMahon definitely failed in that mission. He could not keep the Mexicools down, but Shane did gather allies in Kid Cash and Jamie Noble when Shane became the lead authority figure on SmackDown all those months ago. He was very keen to send a message to that locker room, and he was going to make an example of the Mexicools. So at every point, the Mexicools have been rebelling. They have been interfering in Shane McMahon's business. They've been costing Cash and Noble countless tag matches and opportunities with their interference and their hijinks. But this is all coming to an end now in this matchup, 6-man tag. So it was Shane McMahon who created a gimmick contract to try and put one over on the Mexicools. Remember when he put them in that unfair gauntlet match at No Way Out, where the Mexicools were kind of beaten down by a never-ending cadre of tag teams? Shane McMahon had something in mind here for this match at WrestleMania. But the Mexicools were one step ahead of him this time. They learned their lesson and they fought fire with fire. They gimmicked a contract of their own. And Shane McMahon, upon signing it, realised that his own name was listed to compete. So that is how we arrived at this 6-man tag. Shane McMahon, Kid Cash, and Jamie Noble. Will they get their comeuppance here against the Mexicools? Let's get to the match and find out. And there it is. And in a decent match, of course, it is the Mexicools defeating Shane's crew here. Super Crazy getting the pin. Good stuff. and a decent segment rating of 62 here. So a lot of effort from everyone involved. We gave them the leeway to have the best match that they could. So good stuff all round. And we've got a little bit of a bonus here after the match because a groggy Shane McMahon, of course, with the last name like McMahon, you're going to get a Stone Cold Stunner if Steve Austin is anywhere near a wrestling ring. And that's the case. So here he is, Stone Cold, gets in the ring after the match. Shane gets a Stone Cold Stunner, whereupon the Mexicools bring the beer for a little beer bash celebration. So a great way to open WrestleMania here. A little bit of an opportunity for Steve Austin to give the babyfaces a bit of a rub here, but that's okay. What would WrestleMania be without a little shortcut from time to time, eh? Great stuff. So a good opening match here, exactly what we wanted to see, and expect to see a little bit more of Steve Austin before the night is out. And on to our next program here. This is the Holy Trinity storyline. And unfortunately, the write-up for this one seems to be missing. So clearly I forgot to press the save button when I originally penned this. I do remember doing it, so a little bit of a shame. But nonetheless, let's recap the story here with this one. So in kayfabe, Matt Hardy and Trinity were childhood friends. They weren't in a romantic relationship. They just had a friendship. At one point turned very sour, according to Matt Hardy. Trinity, in her quest for fame and fortune in the wrestling business, turned into a very bitter and unpleasant person, and Matt Hardy cut ties with her before they could break into the business together. But Trinity here has finally made it to WWE, and she has sought Matt Hardy because she wants them to team up once again. Because Matt Hardy, when they were younger, made Trinity a promise. They were going to break into this business together, take the wrestling world by storm. And Matt Hardy has not made good on that promise. But Matt Hardy sticks to his guns. He wants nothing more to do with this evil, manipulative woman, Trinity. This evil, manipulative woman that she has turned into. Now she is here in WWE. So Trinity has decided, after failing to win Matt Hardy back, that she is going to ruin this man's life. Because if you're not with me, you are against me. That's Trinity's outlook here. And she seeks some help in the form of up-and-coming superstar The Miz. Heel, of course, has absolutely no problem accepting Trinity's offer that if Trinity helps The Miz and betters his career in WWE, then The Miz will help Trinity ruin Matt Hardy's life. And the pair of them together, that is exactly what they have done. The Miz and Trinity extinguished a lit cigar on Matt Hardy's palm in a little bit of a heavy heat angle, but nonetheless, at No Way Out, Matt Hardy and The Miz wrestled to a non-finish, a real violent and chaotic brawl. Well, Matt Hardy's head is a little bit clearer now because The Miz said shortly after winning the Cruiserweight Championship, that is right, Trinity made good on that promise, unlike Matt. Her promises, of course, the way she sees it. She helped The Miz become Cruiserweight Champion, and now that The Miz holds that belt, he needs to defend it, and he can't be defending it against middleweights like Matt Hardy. That was his excuse of getting out of ever facing Matt Hardy again. But Matt Hardy did not take this lying down, and decided instead to take it as a challenge. So Matt Hardy was cutting weight in the weeks before this show, WrestleMania, and at the weigh-in, at the kayfabe weigh-in, Matt Hardy succeeded in becoming a cruiserweight to face The Miz for his championship at WrestleMania, which is where we are now. So the situation here, just peeling back the curtain a little bit, I was experimenting with the weight cutting feature, which you can ask a worker to modify their kind of their exercise regime and whatever to adjust their weights in game. And Matt Hardy succeeded at least a month in advance. We gave him plenty of time, and yeah, he delivered. So he is a cruiserweight now on TEW, and just a little bonus as well, his star quality rating jumped up when this happened, when he became a toned cruiserweight. So good stuff, toned lightweight or whatever. So Matt Hardy is cruiserweight eligible now, which is nice to see. So we're expecting a good match here between him and The Miz for the Cruiserweight Championship. So before we get to it, we've got a segment, and this is it. We've got dual shots of Matt Hardy and The Miz walking to the ring, with The Miz telling Trinity that he will make her proud tonight. So this is it then. The Cruiserweight Champion, The Miz, with Trinity at his side as his manager, versus Matt Hardy. And there it is, folks. Hey, and a decent match as well. Good stuff here. It is The Miz getting the win over Matt Hardy and successfully defending his Cruiserweight Championship once again with a little help, of course, from the lady of the hour, Trinity, who runs in and attacks Matt as part of the finish. But nonetheless, it is a 61 segment rating, so good stuff here from both guys. But it is The Miz, unfortunately, upsetting the babyface. The heel goes over here, but overall, good stuff. So, as you can probably tell with this program, that we're just about to bring to an end here on the next segment, this was very much an opportunity for us to build up The Miz. Who has come up from development, has got all of his stats really high, really impressive star potential and all that kind of stuff for the future, just as it was in real life, I suppose. But nonetheless, The Miz, definitely a solid worker here if we can build him up, and a good match like this and a good win here from the more popular superstar, Matt Hardy, will hopefully get him on the road to success. So love to see it. But for now, we've got one last segment where Matt Hardy approaches Miz, and we're not sure exactly what's going to happen. Is Matt Hardy gonna get a cheap shot? Is he going to try and shake Miz's hand? What's the deal? But as he spins the Miz round, Miz gets spooked, and he shoves Trinity in the way. Shoves Trinity in between himself and Matt Hardy, and essentially sacrifices this woman in order to escape. So the Miz running for high ground with his belt in hand, Trinity screaming at him from the ring. Can't believe this situation. And Matt Hardy now, even though he's just lost, he's actually won as well, because now he has seen Trinity and realizes that the Miz was playing her all along, and maybe he was manipulating her rather than the other way around. But whatever the situation here between the Miz and Trinity, Matt Hardy just thinks this is hilarious, and he lets out a good big old laugh. After all this time he spent cutting weight, after the grudge match and all the drama, this is how it ends, with Trinity being fed to the wolves here. And Matt Hardy just kind of leaves Trinity alone, exits the ring, still laughing about the whole situation to himself. And there you have it, folks. That is the end of this story for now. So good stuff from everyone involved. Pretty good segment ratings on the whole, considering the low popularity levels of Trinity and The Miz. I think this one achieved a pretty good outcome, all things considered. And now we'll have to find someone new for Matt Hardy to work with, which should be an exciting prospect. So, as we said, good stuff from all three. All right, and WrestleMania moves on now, and we have got another big singles match. This one between Bobby Lashley and Mark Henry. So, to revisit the strongest there is storyline, the write-up here very simply says, Mark Henry and Bobby Lashley's rivalry begs the question of who is the better athlete. After a pair of intense bouts, a single rubber match will decide the answer. So Bobby Lashley and Mark Henry have one singles victory apiece between them over each other, and this is the deciding match to see who is the better man once and for all. So Mark Henry and Bobby Lashley, of course, were a solid fixture in the early stages of this series, in the earlier parts of the year, where they were competing for Batista's World Heavyweight Championship. So a good job from both guys holding the upper card together during that time. And now Bobby Lashley and Mark Henry have kind of diverted paths away from the world title to instead focus on each other. So it has been kind of a game between these two men to try and prove who the better man is. Very straightforward, easy to digest story here. And yeah, this is it. This is the situation. Bobby Lashley and Mark Henry will be one-on-one here at WrestleMania. But we've got one segment to wrap up before we get to the match. And this is it. Just a quick segment here to show Bobby Lashley and Mark Henry warming up ahead of their rubber match. So again, dual shots here with both men getting ready for this huge match. Rubber match here on WrestleMania to decide who the strongest is. Will it be Bobby Lashley or will it be Mark Henry? Let's get to it. Alright, and in a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling, it is Bobby Lashley getting the win over Mark Henry by pinfall with a Dominator. So again, that would have to been a huge feat of strength, but yeah, I can only imagine that the fans enjoyed the finish to that one. So short match here, but definitely just a display of power from these two monsters, something a little bit different from our card here. And yeah, good stuff with Bobby Lashley getting himself a huge win here over perhaps the more established star in Mark Henry. So good stuff from both guys. And yeah, no psychology penalties for this one. We did our due diligence, making sure that wrestlers were protected, and we had the match scripted as well. So again, not the highest segment rating because of that, but in the 60s, in the green there is definitely where we want to be for the mid-card match, for the undercard matches here. So good stuff here from both guys. And as we finish up, it is the beaten Mark Henry who exits the ring here and gives Bobby Lashley a nod of respect before he does so. So there you go, great stuff from both guys, and that will be the end of this storyline. I forgot to add it in on this segment by the looks of it, but I'll make sure that gets corrected soon, and we'll find a fresh storyline for both guys to take part in. But good stuff from both here at WrestleMania. Moving on, we have John Bradshaw Layfield versus Rey Mysterio in the final match of the United States Championship Tournament. So just quickly revisiting the story for this one. It was, of course, a tournament on SmackDown, offers its entrants a chance at winning the vacant United States Championship at WrestleMania. So very much a filler story, if you like. A bit of a booking crutch, these tournaments. A little bit of writer's fatigue, just chucking in a bunch of mid-card guys and seeing if we could hold down our shows with some good matches. But it served a purpose. We told what story beats that we could during this. It has ended up with JBL really carrying the promo segments, with Rey Mysterio more than holding up his end with regards to matches on SmackDown. So Rey Mysterio definitely has all of the tools and all of the stats and all the momentum to carry him much higher into the card. But for now, we just really needed him in this mid-card spot to, as we said, just keep producing great matches for SmackDown. It's been no secret that SmackDown has always been the weaker show than Raw on this series. But Rey Mysterio has been doing such good work to make sure that SmackDown is as competitive as it can be, with just a great performance after great performance. And JBL, for his part, has been putting in some solid promo work as well. So it only makes sense that the two guys be meeting here together at WrestleMania 22 to decide who will be the United States Champion, the vacant belt that will be up for grabs here in the next match. So as we move on here to the next segment, it is JBL who recaps the US Championship Tournament so far, and his success in it, of course, was promising to beat Rey Mysterio next. And of course, we've got Paul Burchill by JBL's side. Paul Burchill kind of running a private security gimmick here for JBL. So these two, we've kind of put them together to see if we can help boost Paul's lot in the mid-card. But yeah, so this is it. Rey Mysterio versus JBL in the match to decide who the new US champion will be. Let's get to it. And it is Rey Mysterio defeating John Bradshaw Layfield by pinfall with the 619 in a good match. And yes, a segment rating of 76. Rey Mysterio there with a performance of 81. So still no signs here of Rey Mysterio slowing down. Still putting in that absolutely tremendous work that he's been known for. So really great stuff once again from the Luchador, Rey Mysterio, who is now United States Champion. And of course it just had to be, didn't it, folks? If anyone deserved that belt, it was Rey Mysterio after the amazing matches that he has been having on SmackDown. This is it. He is the man who deserves this. So let's get to the next segment where we will crown our new WWE United States Champion. Oh, but wait, because Mr. Kennedy is here. We haven't seen him since this series began. He is back from injury, and he wastes no time. Here at WrestleMania, he ambushes an exhausted Rey Mysterio after the match, picks up that new US title belt that was just about to go around Rey's waist, and he thrashes the hell out of Rey Mysterio with that title belt to a shower of boos. Oh no. And a segment rating 60, so a good effort here from both guys. Kennedy with the hot catchphrase, of course. We know what that is, but yeah, moving on. It is Mr. Kennedy upsetting Rey Mysterio's grand celebration here at WrestleMania. How do you like that development? So, Rey Mysterio, he has been holding the fort down with these matches for months now, and it is time to get him into a storyline worthy of those talents. And with Mr. Kennedy coming back from an injury, I thought, you know what, this seems like a good opportunity to do something between a guy who can carry his end of the promos and the entertainment segments and a guy who we know can carry a match with anyone on this roster. This, moving forward, will be the scene. Rey Mysterio and Mr. Kennedy. Well, that's what it looks like. We'll just have to wait and see how that develops in the future. But nonetheless, the United States champion has been crowned. The tournament is over, but the champion not looking like much of a champion right now, as Mr. Kennedy leaves him broken and battered in the ring with that title belt lying across his chest that he's just been whipped with. Mr. Kennedy is back, and he is back in a big way. So, wow, great stuff from both guys. And from one title match to another, it is now time for the Intercontinental Championship to be defended in a one-on-one match between Gregory Helms and Ric Flair. Ric Flair, the champion, of course. Francine, the new manager of Gregory Helms, who has been guiding him to various successes in the Raw division. But Gregory Helms, after months here, has finally got his chance to become Intercontinental Champion. So let's get to the official write-up. A Flair between two thorns, this storyline. It's Ric Flair is Intercontinental Champion, a fact not lost on the ambitious Gregory Helms. Enlisting the debuting Francine as his new manager, Helms taunts Flair into putting his title on the line. Will Flair be able to keep his wandering eyes off Francine long enough to protect his gold? Well, that's pretty much where we ended up with this story, I think, with Gregory Helms and Francine. Helms, of course, in various states of aggravation, as Ric Flair has schmoozed it up with Francine every opportunity he has got, and Francine, for her part, being the heel, of course, has only encouraged this to kind of perhaps offset, get Flair a bit off his game to make him more vulnerable to Helms's attack. But Helms, of course, can't see the forest for the trees sometimes, and always gets in his own way. So things haven't always gone as planned. But Ric Flair wouldn't budge. He would not give Gregory Helms that Intercontinental title shot for the longest time. He insisted that Helms show him some mettle, show him a reason why he deserved the Intercontinental title shot. So a nice little kind of reversal of roles, really, with the heel just kind of being a bit of a bumbling fool who's doing everything to prove himself to the babyface. But of course, the babyface is Ric Flair, so you can toe a really nice line with Flair's antics, which can be a little bit heelish and still get away with it, I feel. And of course, Ric Flair, ladies' man that he is, always has a kind word for Francine here at ringside in various matches involving Helms and himself. So as we move on here to the next segment, it is Helms asking Francine if he can really trust her. Interesting. So Gregory Helms, if we can just be serious for a moment, he is asking Francine where her loyalties lie. He perhaps getting a little bit close here to the title match, maybe starting to suspect that Francine has eyes for Flair all along. But Francine just delivers her one line here, her brilliant catchphrase, of course, eyes up here. And with a big smile to Gregory Helms, she walks away to kind of get into the gorilla position. And Gregory Helms here trying to translate Francine's words there, her statement. Does that mean she's with Helms, or does that mean she's with Flair? Interesting stuff. So let's get it to it then. The next segment will be the match. Gregory Helms, your challenger. Ric Flair, your champion. Who is going to leave with that Intercontinental title belt? All right. And in a bout that had good heat and decent wrestling, it is Gregory Helms. Yes, he defeats Ric Flair by pinfall after Francine picks her man, interferes, and the man she picks was indeed Helms. So Francine gets the distraction there, and Ric Flair just turned his back for just a second too long. And Helms gets himself the decisive win. And look at this segment rating, folks. For someone of Ric Flair's age and physical ability here, this was a great performance from both guys. And looking at it, look at this. A positive chemistry notice for Helms and Flair once again. So I was very inexperienced when I started playing TEW. This, of course, for those that have been following, is the first time I've ever booked a show on this game before. I didn't really understand the chemistry system too well. And it's only by complete happenstance that Helms and Ric Flair here have been put together and got the positive chemistry notice, because I did not run this match ahead of time. I did not test it out on the pre-show like an intelligent player or a wise player would do. I seem to have just looked into this one, both with these two as singles and with the tag team as well. So they just seem to be two guys that are just made to be in a wrestling ring together as Helms and Ric Flair. So great stuff here. And although that's kind of the end of the storyline, I'm starting to have second thoughts about this. If we've got such good chemistry between these two, maybe this is one story worth just squeezing a little bit more juice out of. We'll have to see. But nonetheless, Ric Flair here doing business with Helms, putting over the young star. And that was exactly where we wanted to be on this occasion at WrestleMania. And as we move on to the next segment, there he is, Ric Flair, teasing a cheap shot on Gregory Helms. But then he leaves with a smile instead. So Ric Flair and Gregory Helms, will this be the last word between them two? Francine has made her decision. She is supporting Helms, and he holds up that Intercontinental title as high as he can stretch it, because finally he has made it his mission to become Intercontinental Champion, and he is champion. Where will Helms go next? We'll just have to wait and see. So great stuff from all involved, and a really nice end to this phase, at least, of the story. Moving on to the next segment here, RVD confronts Triple H backstage, and Hunter denies this three-way match is part of a bigger scheme. So Triple H there referring to a triple threat match that himself, Rob Van Dam and CM Punk will be involved in coming up later in the program. It's not next. But yes, Rob Van Dam finally going man-to-man here with Triple H and accusing him of trying to manipulate CM Punk and turning CM Punk against the locker room. CM Punk, of course, has been in a right mood with Rob Van Dam ever since Rob Van Dam beat CM Punk in Punk's debut match at the Royal Rumble. And Rob Van Dam accusing Triple H of having something to do with CM Punk's rather bitter attitude. Rob Van Dam just can't seem to get through to this youngster, but Triple H offered CM Punk an alliance. He saw something in that young man, and that's something has maybe going to bear some fruit with this matchup, a three-way match where Rob Van Dam could be facing down two opponents if they're on the same page. We're just going to have to wait until later to find out whether that is the case or not. But like I said, that match will be coming up a little bit later, and we're going to move on to our next segment now. And here we go, graphic up on the screen. Of course, it is Mick Foley versus Umaga in a hardcore match. So, revisiting the storyline for this one. The storyline, of course, Umaga takes it to the extreme. When Umaga rampages over a former ECW star, other ECW stars return to join forces in solidarity. Will they be able to stop Umaga's path of destruction before it's too late? So, that's been pretty much the story, followed to the letter there in the original write-up. And we have ended with Umaga, who has just run roughshod over an entire division of talent that we brought in from the ECW kind of history. So we had Terry Funk, of course, involved, doing some great work with Umaga. We had, who else did we have? We had Balls Mahoney, Axel Rotten. We had Nova, of course, Simon Dean switching gimmicks back to Nova. Tommy Dreamer was in there. Joey Styles even had a little segment in there as well. So we've brought back several ECW talent on a short-term contract just so that it can work with Umaga. And what a tremendous job they have done, because Umaga now has much higher popularity than he did when we started this series, when he was still Jamal in 3-minute warning. And yeah, Umaga really has taken off into the stratosphere with all these dominant wins over former ECW talent. And the one that was missing, unfortunately, was Sabu. And it just so happened that Vince McMahon set us an owner goal of not hiring any Daredevil wrestlers. So that kind of put a pin in that idea, if I was going to play up to that, of not being able to get Sabu in for a match. But who knows, we've still got the opportunity maybe in the future, if we want to run things back, we might be able to bring Sabu in down the line as a continuation. But for the meantime, the kind of story is reaching its terminus point here with Mick Foley, who will be going one-on-one with Umaga. And the story in recent times, after Umaga has demolished so many former members of ECW, Mick Foley came together to rally the troops, so to speak, and to kind of take the fight to Umaga and stop this brutal rampage that he's been on. And yeah, when Umaga tried to attack Joey Styles, that's when Mick Foley had enough. And yeah, he showed up. And personally now, Mick Foley has gotten involved, and he has done the unthinkable of actually getting Umaga to feel pain. And he chucked Umaga off a stage at one point, and it's all leading up now to this match at WrestleMania. Of course, Mick Foley was involved in a very notable hardcore match in the real-life WrestleMania 22, of course, against Edge. Best match on that show, one would say. And yeah, Mick Foley is back again here in this fictional setting of WrestleMania 22 with one more hardcore match. So as we move on to the next segment here, we've got Mick Foley in a quick promo before the match admitting that he is afraid. But he's not afraid of Umaga. He's afraid of what he's going to do to Umaga. And as you can see, we've flipped up the graphics a little bit here and got ourselves a profile picture of an avatar picture here of Mick Foley that certainly looks a little bit more devilish and a little bit more extreme than the previous one. All by design, of course. Mick Foley getting right into character here. Umaga has unleashed the beast. Mick Foley is ready to face the Samoan Savage. So, let's get to it. Oh, right. And a high segment rating here of 72. Good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. So, best match Umaga's had on this save by far. And it's just a short match. And it is Umaga who gets the win with the Samoan Spike. And as you can see there in the write-up, it is Mick Foley taking a crazy bump during this match to really sell things. So was that the burning table? Something to do with barbed wire, thumbtacks? I'll let your imagination run wild on this one. But yeah, plenty of bonuses here for this one. We've got Paul Heyman calling the action. And yeah, great stuff. A very, very good match here for Umaga. Just think all the way back to New Year's Revolution where the segment ratings were for his matches. I think they were in like the low 40s, and now we're up to 72. Yeah, granted he's in there with someone of Mick Foley's stature, and Mick Foley with an in-ring performance here of 72. Remember, this is a hardcore match, so he's definitely his wheelhouse. So yeah, great stuff from both guys here, and Umaga, of course, goes over strong. But one last segment after the match, Foley is still down on the ground after this huge bump he's taken, but Umaga leaves calmly instead of attacking. So the story with Umaga throughout this entire series is Umaga, the Samoan Savage, winning his matches in very convincing fashion and then beating his opponent down after the match. And he was targeting various ECW wrestlers in doing this. And various other ECW stars kind of banded together. They saw what was happening. They saw the attack on one of their own. They closed ranks. But here, Umaga, is it a sign of respect? Is it just exhaustion? I'm sure we'll maybe never know, because Umaga is not telling. But he is walking away from this scene of carnage. Mick Foley has lost the match, but perhaps he has gained a measure of Umaga's respect in the process. And let's face it, folks, that's what wrestling is all about. So great stuff from both guys. A real solid blow off here to a very nice program. On to our next match here, and we are back with the triple threat match that we discussed previously. Triple H versus Rob Van Dam and CM Punk. So this storyline was called One Day This Will All Be Yours. But of course we couldn't reveal the full title of that storyline until he debuted. Of course the storyline now is One Day Punk, This Will All Be Yours. And the write-up for this one reads, after CM Punk makes a splash during his debut, Triple H takes an interest in the hot young star. Hunter quickly offers Punk his veteran's advice, but what is the cerebral assassin really planning? And this storyline, I think of all the stories that we have had on this series so far, is the one with the slowest build and is the one that's probably the least developed, I think, out of all of the major matches that we've got at WrestleMania. But a lot of intrigue at the same time. So the story, as we previously said, just a quick recap. CM Punk debuted at the Royal Rumble. He lost his debut match to Rob Van Dam, although he did look good in that match. CM Punk has been acting bitter towards Rob Van Dam ever since. Triple H approached things with Punk a little bit differently, and he said that he just wanted to talk to Punk. And for weeks and weeks, Triple H and CM Punk were seen backstage chatting until Triple H finally formally came out and said to CM Punk, look, let's make this official. Let's join forces. Let's work something out here because I see some potential in you and I think we can make a lot of money together. And CM Punk, after thinking it over, has accepted the offer. Earlier on in this very show, we saw Rob Van Dam claiming that Triple H's intentions were not pure here. He knows what he's had matches and dealings with Triple H in the past. He knows what the cerebral assassin is all about. He didn't get that nickname by accident. But Triple H here feigning ignorance, and the match, the triple threat match, came about when Vince McMahon kind of saw this drama playing out backstage, thought that he could make some money of his own by booking a match with all three of these men together. So, as we said before, is this going to turn into a glorified handicap match? Is this a chance for CM Punk to get that win back over Rob Van Dam? Well, we'll just have to see, as all three men now involved in the same match in a nice story-based affair here at WrestleMania. So moving on to our next segment, we couldn't, of course, start this match without another promo, this time from CM Punk, who promises to steal the whole effing show at WrestleMania. So using one of RVD's catchphrases there against him. And yeah, talking of avatars, we've freshened up CM Punk's here, giving him a little bit more menace now in this promo, and not quite the kind of fresh-faced youngster that he looked like when he first started this series. A couple of months, a few months of build have gone a long way, and CM Punk looks ready, he looks committed, and he wants to win this huge triple threat match and make a statement at WrestleMania. So this is it. CM Punk, can he beat Triple H and Rob Van Dam in a triple threat match? Let's find out. Oh, wow. And in a superb match, 84 rating, tremendous stuff. Triple H defeats Rob Van Dam and CM Punk in the three-way match when Rob Van Dam gets beat with a foreign object there. So again, one to leave to your imagination. Was it the sledgehammer, perhaps? I'm liking the sound of that. And yeah, I'm sorry, folks, for all those who wanted to see CM Punk get the victory here, or for those who wanted to see our boy Rob go over. Tremendous in-ring performer he is on this save, by the way. Yeah, you just knew that there was no way Triple H was going to lie down for either of these guys. And, you know, I gave it the college try. But yeah, it wasn't playing ball with old Hunter, unfortunately. He wanted to get the win at WrestleMania. But you can't complain with a segment rating like that. So the way I see this finish working in my head is Triple H and CM Punk, yeah, perhaps make a little bit of an alliance early on in the match, telling the story there, Rob Van Dam being a bit outgunned and a bit outnumbered. And there comes a moment where CM Punk gets the advantage over Rob Van Dam, but Rob Van Dam retaliates, and Triple H just comes up from behind. And yeah, with that sledgehammer perhaps, no disqualification in a triple threat match, of course. CM Punk isolated, Triple H calls his spot, and he gets the pin on Rob Van Dam. And then, as we move on to the next segment, It is CM Punk now, who in a fit of frustration, still blaming Rob Van Dam for the loss, starts beating Rob Van Dam down out of frustration. So Rob Van Dam, he's just been hit with a sledgehammer. He's completely defenseless. Timekeeper's ringing the bell. CM Punk, he's mounted RVD. He's raining down forearms, lefts and rights on Rob Van Dam here. And it is Triple H, of all people, who pulls CM Punk off Rob Van Dam to stop him from going too far. So interesting development here. Triple H kind of saving CM Punk from himself, perhaps. And Triple H picks up the win, but CM Punk picking himself up a little bit of heat here in the aftermath, as this issue between Punk and Rob Van Dam doesn't seem to be going away. So even when Triple H gets the W, CM Punk still has a blind spot when it comes to the cerebral assassin, and he once again seems to be taking his issues out and his frustrations out on Rob Van Dam's. Like the heel that he is, of course, that is the situation here at WrestleMania. Triple H picks up the win, but the biggest story perhaps is what is going on in the head of CM Punk, and you can only bet that when Rob Van Dam recovers from this, he is going to be on the warpath and after both guys. So interesting stuff here, and some really, really strong segment ratings for this. Very, very pleased with this one as WrestleMania rolls on. And now we are just moments away from the WWE Women's Championship from being decided in a match between the glamorous champion Trish Stratus and her obsessive challenger Mickie James. And the road that these two women have been on proves once and for all, hell hath no fury like a fangirl scorned. So that's the setup, but how did we reach this point? Well, I'm going to read to you now the storyline information written by Mammoth, as I did keep this one exactly as was written for the Shifting Sands mod. So here it is. Debuting in October 2005, Mickie James quickly let it be known that she was WWE Women's Champion Trish Stratus's biggest fan. The Divas began competing together in tag team matches, with Mickie becoming increasingly obsessed with Stratus. In a Halloween costume contest, James dressed like Stratus and helped her retain the title in a battle royal by eliminating herself and Victoria at the same time. Even utilising Stratus's signature finishing moves as her own. Is Mickie a fan or simply obsessed? So there's a really nice write-up there of the story so far, and as January 2006 begins on this mod, that's everything that has happened in the feud so far. So it's a great place to pick it up from, and that's exactly what I did. But rather than just copy the real-life feud, which was already good as it was, I put my own spin on this. So Trish Stratus still tells Mickie James that she wants some space from her. Mickie James is just too much, and after their match at New Year's Revolution, Trish Stratus essentially breaks it off with Mickie. She doesn't want to talk to her for the time being, and Mickie James immediately takes this badly, and we accelerate the drama a little bit there with Mickie James. She burns a photograph of her idol Trish and thinks that if I can't have Trish, then no one can, and immediately starts scheming, becomes more of a mastermind than a psychotic, obsessed fan, in this version of the story at least, and starts thinking up ways to remove Trish Stratus from her friends until the only person that Trish Stratus can count on is Mickie James herself, and that is exactly what happened. So inadvertently, Trish Stratus has been led by Mickie James to turning on each and every one of her friends. Ashley, her protege, Jacqueline, her peer, even Maria. Everyone in the women's locker room that might be sympathetic towards Trish, Mickie James poisoned that relationship. And when it came to Trish Stratus having to face Victoria, Lita and Ivory in a 6-woman tag team match, Trish Stratus found that she had no allies left. Except, of course, for Mickie James, who always seems to pop up with a friendly smile and an ingratiating aura about her whenever Trish needs help. So even though Trish was kind of wary still around Mickie and still a bit uncomfortable about the situation between them, Trish Stratus came to find that Mickie James was the only person she could turn to. By design, of course. Mickie James's design. So when Trish Stratus stepped into that 6-woman tag team match against Victoria and Lita's crew, she was immediately abandoned by Mickie James. And from there, Trish Stratus was beaten down by those heel women, with Mickie James kind of left to gloat. And when asked to explain herself, Mickie James made the point that she wanted to teach Trish Stratus what it means not to feel loved. So Mickie James, really bitter and disgusting behaviour from her, has undermined Trish Stratus every step of the way, but the time for talking now is over. This is it. This is Trish Stratus versus Mickie James, and Mickie James looking to take away the one thing she claims Trish Stratus does love, that being her WWE Women's Championship. But Trish Stratus is not backing down. She is going to make things right one step at a time, and the first step is defeating this odious challenger, Mickie James, who she thought they had a tenuous agreement, maybe a tenuous friendship. Simply not the case. So here at WrestleMania 22, it is the Women's Championship match that we are just about to get to. And all right, yes, a 75 segment rating. How do you like that? Oh, wow. The best women's match we have had on this series couldn't have come at a better time here at WrestleMania. I think that's proof that the setting really enhances the presentation of these matches with segment ratings like that. Absolutely tremendous. What an effort this was. Oh, couldn't be more happy with this one. And of course, it's even sweeter because Mickie James, of course, defeats Trish Stratus here with the chick kick to become the WWE Women's Champion. So after all the scheming, all the mind games, and all the manipulation, Mickie James finally got what she wanted. Well, she didn't get Trish Stratus, her affection, of course, but she did get the thing that Trish Stratus loves. Her words, folks, not mine. That WWE Women's Championship. So Mickie James here is the champion. I hope once and for all this tips her over to the edge and sends her popularity into the stratosphere. No pun intended. And as we move on to the next segment, we've got one last pose here from Mickie James. It's a familiar pose that she is striking with her new title belt there as Trish recovers. So exactly like real life. We're not overthinking this one too much. Mickie James goes over. Mickie James is the new champion, and she steals Trish Stratus's pose there with the belt, and finally replaces her idol, perhaps by embodying her there as well. So absolutely tremendous stuff here from both women. This has been my favourite storyline to write on this show so far. So I do hope you enjoyed it. And there you have it, folks. Mickie James is your WWE Women's Champion. And should this story continue on from here, I'm just going to have so much fun thinking about all the different directions it can go now that Mickie James is your new champion. So absolutely tremendous. Well done to both women. And WrestleMania rolls on. So, good luck to this next match, living up to that previous one. But we've got pretty much the best case scenario because things I see are only going to go up from here. And that is in the literal sense, where the WWE Tag Team Championships and the World Tag Team Championships will be suspended up above the ring for the ladder match to decide new Undisputed Tag Team Champions. So the storyline, unification of the Tag Team Championships goes, tensions in the Tag Team division boil over when the champions from each brand end up eliminating each other from the Royal Rumble match. The newly appointed SmackDown General Manager, Shane McMahon, eventually books a unification match to end the conflict. So that is an example of a storyline that took some drastically different turns to how I originally wrote it, because if you remember back to the Royal Rumble match, there was definitely no story there of tag teams eliminating each other, at least from what I can remember, and it was actually Shane and Vince who booked the unification match together, I think. Maybe even Vince more than Shane anyway, to end the chaos in the tag team division. So again, it's another trope, a little bit of a crutch, a booking crutch with a bunch of tag teams thrown into the blender here. But this is just the situation, as we've said before, with Shifting Sands. When you start a 2006 save, the tag team division is in a real dreary state, in my opinion, and it's very hard to work with. And the first step to really sorting out this division was to unify these tag belts into one set of undisputed titles that you can actually build a proper story around. Just have one set of tag team belts, one team that can go between SmackDown and Raw as they wish. And yeah, just that'll just really aid the division the way I see it anyway. So we've taken advantage of the time and built up what we can, various kind of feuding segments between the various guys involved. But the chaos in the division does not end in a storyline sense here, because there's actually another change to this match that I've got to announce now. So on your screen you can see London and Kendrick involved in this match. Well, unfortunately that is no longer the case. On the pre-show it was Eminem, Masters and Carlito who ambushed the Hooligans, London and Kendrick, and beat them down, essentially eliminating them from this match in a bit of a post-show attack. So London and Kendrick are out of the match, and the reason for that is not strictly a storyline one, or that's how I'm explaining it away. The reason is you can't actually have a 5-way ladder match in TEW 2020, at least from what I can tell. I looked everywhere in the settings and it looks like it only supports up to a max of four teams in a ladder match format. So if there's a way to fix that, I apologise, but unfortunately we're just going to go with the teams that we've got here. And yeah, London and Kendrick unfortunately got dropped. So yeah, that's just one of those things. But the story being there, that Carlito, Masters and Eminem kind of saw themselves being outnumbered by babyfaces and wanted to even the odds a little bit. So, you know, it kind of ties into the story. A little bit of a shame, but yeah, that's just the only way I could see to fix this. So a right royal mess is the tag team division as usual, but hopefully the match itself won't be a mess, because we've got a lot of talent in there and a hugely prestigious stipulation in the ladder match as well. So this is it for the Undisputed Tag Team Championships. Who is it going to be? Nitro and Mercury, of course, are the existing WWE Tag Team Champions. Big Show and Kane are the World Heavyweight Tag Team Champions. But after this match, it will just be one set of titles, one team between the ones you can see on your screen now will be the champions. And just before we march on here, we've got one more segment, and there it is. It's another one of these train wreck segments with just everyone thrown into a blender here and no one being scripted. And it is the tag teams busy arguing backstage, as we've seen before. We've got the controversy, of course, of London and Kendrick, who are taken out. There's big controversy here. But when Vince comes in here, a little cameo for Vince McMahon, the CEO, to demand silence here in the locker room and announce that an official coronation of the Undisputed Tag Team Champions will take place on Raw. And the room goes quiet at this, so Vince is kind of saying that you go out there and you put on the best match you can for that audience, and on Raw you will get the showcase spot where the brand new title belts will be presented to you. So the belts, of course, above the ring will determine the winner of the match, but on Raw, the new tag team belts will be debuted. So look out for that. So it's about time we got to the match. So here we go. It is a 4-way ladder match now between 4 different teams to decide who's going to become new Undisputed Tag Team Champions. Oh man, I'm not sure how many more segment ratings this show can take as high as that. 81. Oof. A good match apparently. Yeah, deep in the green for this one. And it is the All-Americans, the team of Kurt Angle and Shelton Benjamin, who defeat Big Show, Kane, Carlito, Chris Masters, Johnny Nitro and Joey Mercury in the ladder match, with Shelton Benjamin retrieving the belts for his team. And there it is. Brian Kendrick and Paul London were eliminated from the match, unfortunately, but they did get to run in here and attack Eminem to cost them the victory. The All-Americans are your new WWE Undisputed Tag Team Champions. And like I said, when we get to Raw, we'll fix the belt names and shuffle some things about. But for the moment, there you have it. It is the All-Americans taking both sets of titles here. And yeah, another tremendous performance from Kurt Angle. Best worker in this company, next to Rey Mysterio and a very elite company. Shawn Michaels perhaps as well. But yeah, Kurt Angle head and shoulders above everyone else, to be expected. And we even got Johnny Nitro there taking a crazy bump into the bargain as well. So good stuff from him. I can only imagine what that involved. Definitely falling off a ladder through various tables, I would expect. But yeah, an 81 segment rating for this. Exactly what we wanted from such a high-profile match. And as we move on to the next segment, it is the All-Americans holding all 4 belts triumphantly, with Kurt Angle here applauding his elated tag team partner, Shelton Benjamin. So this makeshift team that came together fairly recently have been putting on tremendous work in the tag team division. Both these guys hugely talented. Angle, of course, just can't be stopped right now. And so it only made sense to put the belts on this new team and see just how far they can go with a push like this. So great stuff from both guys. And yeah, if we get to another episode of Raw, we'll definitely look forward to crowning these two our brand new Undisputed Tag Team Champions. Moving on here, let's get the graphic up. There it is. Hulk Hogan and Jerry Lawler one-on-one in a huge grudge match here at WrestleMania. Yeah, you didn't see this one coming, did you? Or maybe you did, but all great stuff. This is the once and future king of pro wrestling storyline that at least one of you eagle-eyed viewers had seen coming quite a long time in advance due to the little the little notices about Jerry Lawler's pending heel turn. But nonetheless, it is the king of WWE versus the king of pro wrestling when Jerry Lawler makes his bid for WrestleMania by calling out the biggest superstar of all time, Hulk Hogan. And yes, that's exactly the story. But he did a lot more than just call Hogan out. It was Jerry Lawler who pummeled Hogan in a very dramatic turn on this save. And it's been a war of words between the two men ever since. There was a tag team match mixed in there as well. So all the good stuff. But yes, Jerry Lawler, desperate to get to WrestleMania. We thought that he was going to get there over Vince McMahon. Maybe taking out the CEO of the company en route to the biggest show, because Vince McMahon was playing the agitator since this story with Jerry began. He took Jerry away from commentary. He kicked him out of the building at various points. He said to Jerry Lawler that, look, you're just not marketable. You're too old and over the hill to go to WrestleMania. What have you done recently that would warrant me putting you in a high-profile match? And that is when Jerry Lawler unexpectedly turned on Hulk Hogan and kind of made his bid for the big time right there. And Vince McMahon definitely liking the smell of money with this one. And yeah, as we march on to the next segment, here we are. Hulk Hogan gives us a classic Hulkster promo ahead of his grudge match with Jerry Lawler here. So great stuff. Let me tell you something. Hulk Hogan delivering a great segment rating here with an 82. And yeah, looking forward to this one. Now, we're not going to expect a huge segment rating from this one. I guess the match quality isn't the point with this one. It's definitely going to be more of a storytelling affair. This is your storytelling slot for WrestleMania 22. But nonetheless, still looking forward to it. It is Hulk Hogan versus Jerry Lawler. Can Jerry Lawler win his debut match at WrestleMania against one of the biggest wrestling superstars of all time? Let's find out. Alright, so Hogan off his game on this one, unfortunately, but we still got a solid 60 rating for this one. And of course, we've got fantastic heat with these two guys in there. Decent wrestling, so couldn't ask for much more than that. It is Hulk Hogan, though, getting the win over Jerry Lawler in short order with the leg drop, of course. And in abstract terms on the video game, we couldn't go much longer than this just because of both guys' physical conditioning is just not going to allow that to happen. But nonetheless, it is Hulk Hogan, of course, going over, as he always does, against Jerry Lawler here. And then after the match, it is Hulk Hogan doing his classic pose down as Lawler retreats in bitter defeat. So there you have it, folks. The King of Pro Wrestling has been decided. It is Hulk Hogan standing tall here at WrestleMania, and Jerry Lawler slinking to the back in defeat. So there you have it. But Jerry Lawler, he got to WrestleMania. He did what he said he was going to do. But yes, out of the bargain, we've got ourselves a hot new heel that we can use in storylines going forward. So good stuff here from both guys, and looking forward, as we said, seeing what Jerry Lawler gets up to next when he returns on another episode of Monday Night Raw. All right, and we are back now with the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels versus Booker T. Wow, so what storyline is this one? Let's just bring it up here. This is Heartbreak and Triumph. So Booker T debuts on Raw by attacking Shawn Michaels. These new rivals find themselves more evenly matched in the ring than anyone expected, leading to an escalating series of grudge matches where neither man can sustain advantage over the other. So yes, that storyline right up there turned out to be quite accurate to what we portrayed in the series as well. Now this of course is a feud that hasn't been running for as long as some of the other ones on this series so far. Booker T is someone we brought over to Raw as a little bit of an experiment to see how well he would measure up with Shawn Michaels, and yeah, that experiment proved to be very fruitful indeed, because in various victories against Shawn Michaels, even though Michaels himself hasn't been happy about it, Booker T has developed so massively since he beat Shawn Michaels. His popularity's gone through the roof, and these two men are looking a lot more even in popularity levels than they were when this feud started. So mission accomplished here. HBK may not be a fan, but the audience certainly is, of Booker T anyway, who's got himself a hot new catchphrase at the moment. Got great chemistry with his manager and wife Charmel, and Shawn Michaels, we've slipped him a little bit of a little bit extra in his paycheck this month to try and sort out his lagging morale, which was advised to me in the comments section as one thing that you can do to offset any morale penalties. So we've corrected that little situation, and hopefully, we'll be a little bit more astute when it comes to booking some of these more business-driven guys that we have on our roster. But nevertheless, this is the match now. Shawn Michaels and Booker T, they have wins over each other. Several matches that these two men have been involved in. This has been a match-based storyline. I think it's the only one of its kind anyway, on this save. But nonetheless, it is Shawn Michaels and Booker T. Booker T has more pinfall victories over Shawn Michaels, and this match at WrestleMania is to decide, hopefully, once and for all, who the better man is between them. So this is it, Shawn Michaels and Booker T. And as we march on to the next segment here, oh, wow. Oh, man. It's a segment rating 100. So clearly the little bit of extra money we put in Shawn Michaels' back pocket is already... we're already seeing the benefits of that. From a high morale, hot catchphrase, and everything else about these two guys. Two of our biggest stars on Raw at this point. Absolutely tremendous. So the max rating of 100 here for Shawn Michaels and Booker T, who clash on the mic one more time before heading out to wrestle. So a quick bit of promo time, interview time for both men as we clean up the ring from the previous match. And yes, this is it. Shawn Michaels and Booker T one-on-one, but this time the stage is WrestleMania. Booker T has been desperate since this storyline began to replace Shawn Michaels as the new Mr. WrestleMania, as the new show stealer, as the new guy that everyone's going to be talking about. And so far, he's done a pretty bang-up job. But this is a different stage entirely. You're in Shawn Michaels territory now. This man knows WrestleMania better than anyone. And now is the time to see if Booker T can back it up in the ring, on the big stage, with everyone watching. This is it. Pay-per-view match between Shawn Michaels and Booker T. Let's get to it. And... wow. In an exceptional match, Booker T gets the win over Shawn Michaels with the bookend. There you have it, folks. Booker T. Was he the underdog in this match? I'd like to think he was, but he has done it. He has won. So Triple H and Hulk Hogan, two members of the old guard, went over earlier in the show. So you may have forgiven me for following the pattern and making Shawn Michaels the victor here. But no, we've gone with Booker T on this occasion. And let me tell you, folks, Shawn Michaels had no problem laying down for Booker T on this show. Didn't kick up a fuss at all. So that only goes to show that Booker T's stock has raised that much, where his opponent Shawn Michaels now has no problem dropping the match and doing the favour. So great stuff. Thanks to Shawn here. And what a match. 87 rating. So both guys here putting in an absolutely tremendous performance. Shawn Michaels there, one short of Kurt Angle. Like I said before, those two guys absolutely unstoppable. And look at this, just a sea of bonuses. We gave them the leeway, of course, to have the best match that they could. And there you have it, folks. 87 segment rating. No doubt the spectacle of WrestleMania adds a few extra points on there. I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, nonetheless, there it is. A real good development in this story with such a tremendous match. Shawn Michaels loses out to Booker T on this occasion. Oh, look at that. And a 98 segment rating for the follow-up. It is HBK who is livid when the cocky Booker T refuses a handshake post-match. So, Shawn Michaels was willing to be the bigger man on this occasion. Booker T beat him fair and square. Shawn Michaels wanted to bury the hatchet, shake this man's hand. But folks, we can't leave it there. Not when we've just gotten started with such a great match. And Booker T now really hitting his stride. We can't end it there. So Booker T refuses the handshake, taunts HBK, leaves with Sharmell, and Shawn Michaels now simmering with anger over this situation where Booker T's got another win over him now. But can HBK let it lie? You wouldn't have thought so with the look that he's got on his face right now. But nonetheless, a great segment rating here. Maybe if Booker T had just been okay off script, we could have reached another 100. But look, there's no complaining about this. 3 blue ratings in a row. These two guys are on fire. And yeah, this is one experiment that definitely paid off. Was very, very glad to see these two put in a performance like this. So great stuff from both guys as WrestleMania continues. And continuing we do with Steve Austin back at WrestleMania here, confronting his old friend William Regal and kind of calling him out on all the things he's been seeing Regal do in recent months. Regal, of course, been stretching out youngsters in the locker room and punching people out, all sorts of things. But yeah, Steve Austin and William Regal face to face here. Regal says to him, "Don't make me hurt you as well, Steve. If I have to punch out Steve Austin in the locker room to get an extra sliver of respect, I'll do it." And Steve Austin at this point keeps his cool, surprisingly, because he says he's not actually here to speak to William Regal. He's actually here to speak to his old buddy Roddy Piper, who he announces is the guest enforcer in the upcoming match between William Regal and The Undertaker. So how do you like that development? William Regal, of course, sent Roddy Piper out on a stretcher the last time we saw those two at No Way Out, of course. That was the last time Roddy Piper was seen anyway. And Piper here won't be laying a finger on William Regal either, as much as he would absolutely love to. But no, he has his position filled. He is the guest enforcer in this match, but that's just fine with Roddy Piper because he's going to be getting a front row seat, he says, to see The Undertaker pulverize Regal into oblivion. And Roddy Piper is very much looking forward to that development. So Roddy Piper is going to make sure things are called straight down the middle here at WrestleMania because this is a very high-profile match with William Regal's thirst for respect up against The Undertaker's streak, WrestleMania streak, of course. So let's pull up the graphic now. All right, and there it is. So this is it. Fear is just another form of respect is the title. So tired of not getting the respect he feels he deserves, William Regal abandons the pageantry of his high society lifestyle and returns to his opponents and returns to his bare knuckle roots, stretching his opponents and punching out interviewers. But what will happen when William Regal's thirst for revenge crosses the path of the most respected and feared man in the locker room? And there it is. So The Undertaker is defending his WrestleMania streak in this match against his opponent, William Regal. So we saw there the hype video for Undertaker versus William Regal, and a damn good one it was by the looks of it. So a very high segment rating, deep in the blue for this one, exactly where we want to be. So it's about time we got to the match, isn't it? In an exceptional match, The Undertaker defeats William Regal by pinfall with the last ride. And during that match, we also had Roddy Piper distract Regal. So Not quite the interference that it sounds like from that description, but more on that in a second. But yes, an 81 segment rating for this. So we got them the time and the leeway to have the best match they could. So great stuff from both guys here. A very strong match to end their program, and the only place it could even it could ever really end, and that of course being WrestleMania. So a great performance from both guys, and after the match we've got one more bonus segment here. Wow, another strong segment at that. It is The Undertaker paying respect to Roddy Piper for discarding Regal's brass knuckles, and then afterwards, after he finally recovers, Regal leaves disgraced. So there you have it, folks. Roddy Piper's distraction from earlier. That was our special guest enforcer, remember, robbing William Regal, or relieving him, should we say, of his brass knuckles that William Regal was intending to use to knock out The Undertaker and take a shortcut on his route to beating the streak. But unfortunately, that was a big mistake, because Roddy Piper does the right thing there, takes the brass knucks away from Regal, and it's during that moment that The Undertaker rallies. We get the last ride. Regal is toast. It is over. The streak is... And what have we got next? Well, it's the first of our 2 world title matches here at WrestleMania 22. And our first one is Batista versus Randy Orton. So these two men, what a collision course they've been on recently. It is Viper versus Animal. When Randy Orton makes an offhand remark about Batista's in-ring ability, it sparks a bitter war where both men's reputation and Batista's World Heavyweight Championship hang in the balance. This, of course, is our biggest program on SmackDown, Dave Batista versus Randy Orton. It all started with one little remark that Randy Orton made during a backstage interview earlier in the year. He said that he was a better wrestler than Dave Batista, that he would be a more worthy champion, and that he is more of a man than Dave Batista is. And out of that spun this huge rivalry. Randy Orton allied himself with Mark Henry, Dave Batista, an off-again, on-again alliance with Bobby Lashley. Eventually, Batista would be drawn into fighting both of those men, with Randy Orton kind of playing things from the sidelines, and whatever little schemes he could come up with to undermine Dave Batista's presence as world champion. But eventually, this all came to a head at the Royal Rumble, when Randy Orton, of course, upset Dave Batista's celebration, only to go on himself to win the Royal Rumble. So Randy Orton won the Royal Rumble. We knew at that point it would be Batista and Orton facing each other at WrestleMania, and ever since then these two men have just been locking horns on SmackDown and trying to one-up each other at every turn. And on the very last episode of SmackDown, it was Dave Batista who cleared the air, offered his hand, and said very simply to Randy Orton, after everything that has gone on between us, all that is left is this last match. May the best man win. And that's where we are, folks. World Heavyweight Champion Dave Batista defends his title against the scheming and manipulative Randy Orton. Two friends, now enemies. Let's see how this match plays out. And there it is. Okay, and in a bout that had fantastic heat and good wrestling, it is Batista who upsets Royal Rumble winner Randy Orton. Has lost. The Batista bomb was the result, and that is defense number 4 on this save for Batista's World Heavyweight title. So unfortunately on this occasion, Randy Orton just came up a bit short, and yeah, honestly, looking at the lay of the land on SmackDown, all things considered, Randy Orton probably wasn't ready for this spot as a champion in terms of like where his stats are, popularity is at the moment. You've definitely got to keep the title with Dave for the meantime. He's just so far ahead of most others on SmackDown. So this was the right result, I felt. But yes, so it is a retain for Batista here. And unfortunately for this program, we've got ourselves a negative chemistry warning. So ouch. I guess with the story set up as it was, it would have been difficult to change that had I done my due diligence and checked for chemistry ahead of time. But nonetheless, still a 71, so the popularity of both guys carrying us through on this occasion. And so, yeah, even though we got negative chemistry that hurt this one, we're still in the deep green. So still where we want to be, but a bit of a shame as the potential for a rematch here definitely looks a bit shakier than it did before. But either way, good stuff. Batista stays your World Heavyweight Championship holder, which means there's only one more match to get to, so we better get going. That leaves just one program left, and of course it's the biggest one of them all. You know what it is, folks. It is Edge versus John Cena. This feature is rated R. We are taking Cena to the edge here at WrestleMania because after winning the Money in the Bank briefcase, Edge has his sights firmly set on John Cena's WWE Championship. Cena wants to go to WrestleMania with his title still in hand, but will the crafty Edge find a way to dethrone the white-hot champion? And in our final pre-match segment, it is the hype video for Edge versus John Cena, and another 99 segment rating to add to the collection for these two. Absolutely white hot as always. Edge there with the catchphrase, Lita with the managerial chemistry, the improv. Oh, look at that. I didn't even notice. John Cena has invented a new catchphrase as well. So Edge and Cena both with the hot catchphrases, as if these segments couldn't get any more impressive. There it is, folks. And it tells the story, doesn't it, of the main event of WrestleMania. It couldn't be anything other than these two at this time. They have everything going for them right now. This was the main event from the very beginning, as you probably could have imagined. It was never going to be anything different. And this story began, really, at New Year's Revolution, when Edge cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase, similar to real life, at the expense of John Cena, to steal away that WWE Championship from the world's biggest babyface, John Cena. And Cena has been trying to get that belt back fair and square ever since. And so far, that elusive championship has stayed just out of his reach. Edge, a paranoid schemer, has been doing everything in his power to keep that belt around his waist. The interference, the non-finishes, the machinations, the alliances, everything that Edge can think of, he has done to try and beat down John Cena and keep him out of getting a rematch for this WWE Championship. Edge is desperate to be the figurehead of the company. He wants to be the guy everyone talks about. He wants to be the most famous, richest, hottest superstar on Raw or any other show bearing the WWE name. But John Cena, of course, is right there with him. And Edge trying everything he can to put Cena down, but he hasn't succeeded yet. At the Royal Rumble, Edge escaped with his title. In a rematch after that, Edge escaped with his title. With Lita's help and with the help of various other heels, Edge has tried everything, but nothing has kept the fighting Cena down. Vince McMahon is through having Raw hijacked, his words, not mine, and he wants his two biggest stars to settle this in a no disqualification match at WrestleMania. So you can imagine Lita will be involved in some respect, but the point is here, Edge isn't getting counted out this time. He is not getting disqualified. Nothing is going to stop us reaching a decision. This is it. The grandest stage of them all. It is the main event of WrestleMania 22. Your champion Edge defending the WWE Championship belt against John Cena. For the final time, let's find out. What? What? Oh, awesome. Oh, man. A segment rating 99. I had no idea that match ratings could go that high. Is that real? Am I really looking at that? A segment 99. Oh my goodness. Well, this was your main event at WrestleMania, folks, and it delivered everything that it promised. Here it is, an exceptional match. John Cena defeats Edge with the FU. He is once again WWE champion. John Cena, your babyface, he has done it. And what an incredible performance from both guys here. An 81 and an 88 on the grandest stage of them all. They have just put in the best match that this save has ever seen and maybe even will ever see. What an absolutely incredible effort I can only assume we've got some plus points in here contributing to that. We did give them the steal the show order on this one to have the best match they could. And yeah, we've got all the momentum and all the high morale and everything contributing to this one. The main event prestige as well, no doubt, with the biggest title in the company. But either way, whatever bonuses they had working for them, this is absolutely tremendous, sublime, super. It doesn't get any better than this. Absolutely fantastic. John Cena is your new WWE champion, and he has won that belt back in style against Edge. Wow. Where would this story even go to after a match like this? Honestly, folks, I've got no idea, because that is about to bring us to the end. Yes. Well, we started with a 100. We might as well end with one. One more for the road, folks. There it is. 100 for the segment rating of John Cena, once again standing tall as your WWE champion. He's got his new championship belt. He's got his hot catchphrase. He is on top of the world. John Cena with a segment rating maxed out. That is your finale to WrestleMania 22. And what a show it has been. Let's click that button and get the official word. It is an overall rating of 96. So by far and away the best show that we have ever booked on this series. Couldn't have come at a better time for WrestleMania, of course. We started off in a sea of green and we ended in a sea of blue. So what a sublime effort from everyone involved with that one. Absolute tremendous stuff, top to bottom. Really, really good, and really pleased with this one. I do hope you enjoyed watching it. It did take a little bit extra time to create this one, but like I said, I do hope you enjoyed this journey with me. And yeah, it feels like a lot of the matches on this show and a lot of some of the stories anyway felt like they were just getting started, didn't they? Because some of them we joined kind of midway through, or they joined midway through the series, we should say. So they were kind of still in their early stages of development. And some of the positive chemistry notices in there, hints at some potential rematches to come, which could be really hot and really cool as well. So yeah, just a real smooth watch this was. The full 5 hours that it gave us, the full 300 minutes, we made full use of it. Yeah, probably be quite an agonizing show to watch in real life if you had this many matches, as we know from WrestleMania's past. But nonetheless, in the abstract world of the video game, it was a real pleasure every minute of this, sharing this with you. So it's been really, really great. And like I said, a show that really hints at some strong things for the future. If this is what you can accomplish in 3 and a bit months, wow, what could it be in another few months on the build-up to SummerSlam? Who knows, really, really tremendous. So speaking of the future, it's probably about time that I address the future of this video series from here. And yes, it is with a heavy heart that I will share that at the very least, this series will go on an extended hiatus from this point. I'm not sure if you've ever played this game yourself, but if you have, you'll know it takes a tremendous amount of time and it rents a lot of space in your head when you play this game. And yeah, I do find myself in need of a break to recharge and recollect myself. So whilst I'll not commit to saying that this is the end of this series and the end of this 2006 mod of me playing this, it's definitely time that I step away from the game and let anyone who wants to watch this series kind of catch up with what's already out there on YouTube. And like I said, just let me have some time to think about what the new storylines will be coming up and what kind of existing storylines we've got and how they can develop from here. Because everything that I wrote and kind of put down on my spreadsheet for this series terminates here at WrestleMania, and I'll need to create a separate spreadsheet if I hope to continue playing the game. But like I said, no immediate plans to do that right now. In real life is 2024, and the real life WrestleMania of WrestleMania XL, WrestleMania 40 is approaching very soon, and I will hope to be in attendance there myself. So that's kind of my next project to work on in the meantime, as far as wrestling is concerned. So yes, if that's goodbye for now, then I do thank you from the bottom of my heart for following me on this journey for all 30? Is it 30 episodes? 30 episodes. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, so if you've followed me from the beginning, all 30 episodes, I can only thank you for that. It's been a real privilege and a pleasure to present this to you. And even though I never ask it, the comments that you have given me have really been very encouraging. And again, I thank you for those. It really does mean a lot to me. So yeah, thanks for that. So potentially for the final time, but hopefully not. That was CelJaded playing Total Extreme Wrestling 2020 for Sunday, week 1 of April 2006. My name was Alex. This was WrestleMania. And hopefully I will see you again next time. But for CelJaded and this series as a whole, I will just say, please continue to watch this space. Talk to you next time.